This book here, the Shifa, this is the most important, the most primary, the most revered biography of Muhammad, one of the prophetic biographies. It is not as old as it is written after the Sirat Rasulullah, the one of Ibn Hisham, Ibn Ishaq. However, this one is the most important one, the most highly revered, and it tells us the Prophet was born circumcised, and he was born with his umbilical cord already cut. And his mother says he was born clean, there was no impurity on him. Another miracle of Muhammad. If you read some of the other books, if you read through the Sirat Rasulullah and others, you'll discover that they explain that Jesus was circumcised as per Jewish law after 8 days, but Muhammad went one better because Mo was born circumcised. What a miracle. Your thoughts, Thaddeus?
Well, I think maybe this would explain a lot. I mean, if his umbilical cord wasn't properly attached, maybe he wasn't getting the oxygen from his mother, and his brain didn't fully develop or something.
I know. Yeah. Where do you go with that thought? Let's have a look. Let's continue. Aisha said, I never ever saw the private parts of the messenger. His wife said, I never ever saw the private parts of the messenger. Okay, sure. I don't know where your brain wants to wander when it thinks about that, but what are your thoughts, Thaddeus?
I don't know. Maybe she was required to be blindfolded in the bedroom. Or
Yeah, I never ever saw the private parts of the messenger. Now it gets even better. This is from the Shifa, right? So the link is down below in the description, if I recall. I did drop it in there. Let's have a look. Ali, his son, his adopted son, said, the Prophet asked me to make sure that no one except me washed him. He said, no one has seen me naked without going blind. So this is when Muhammad died. He wanted his son only to wash his body and prepare it for burial, because no one has seen Muhammad naked without going blind. And these women, as you can see here, are marked safe from Muhammad today because they used eye protection. These are his wives. And this is why. I think we've discovered the reason for the niqab. Yeah.
You know that the Islamic sources talk a lot about how amazingly white Muhammad was, about his white chest and his white arms, and so maybe his body's just so white that it's reflecting so much light from the sun that it causes people to go blind. I don't know.
It was dangerous. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe he thought he was God, and if people had to see him, they would, who knows. But yeah, so none of his wives saw him naked. So he had how many? 12 blind wives? Either that or none of them saw him blind, because I don't know of reports of his wives being blind. So maybe those exaggerated tales of his virility were just that, exaggerations. Maybe he had issues in the bedroom. And this is the reason why. Sorry, can't do this with you because you'd go blind. I'm trying to save your life here.
Could be.
How else do we interpret this? So now as we discovered, no umbilical, well, maybe he lacked oxygen at birth. That would explain a lot. So number 2, Aisha never saw the private parts of the messenger. Yeah, it sounds legit. And was this a Viagra? The third one, was that a Viagra-related excuses for his 12 blind wives? We need to go do some research. I don't know. Please, if you guys know, drop something in the comments, drop something in the chat. But really, I think, this is from the most authoritative biography of Muhammad. And we're supposed to believe this. Let's move on. Cleanliness is next to moliness. Anas said, I have not smelled amber, musk, or anything more fragrant than the smell of the messenger. So nothing smelled better than Muhammad. His hand was scented. It was as if he had taken it from a bag of perfume. So this messenger of Allah touched his cheek. He said, I felt a cool sensation. And his hand smelled like it was taken from a bag of perfume. If someone shook his hand, the fragrance would remain for the whole day. If the Prophet placed his hand on the head of a child, that child could be recognized among the other children by the fragrance. Anas's mother brought a bottle in which to put Muhammad's sweat. He asked about this, and she said, we put it in our perfume, and it is the most fragrant of scents. I'll pause there for a minute. Your thoughts, Thaddeus, on this amazing, even his poopies, as we discovered last week, smelled sweet.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I don't think I want to be rubbing anyone's sweat on me as a perfume.
This is the greatest man that ever lived, and we are reading about the miracles of Mo. In his great history, al-Bukhari mentioned that when the Prophet went down a road, anyone who followed him knew that he had passed that way because of his scent. Now, here's the thing. He's not saying because he smelled nice. You know, it could be because, like, you never know. The Prophet's fragrance occurred without the use of perfume. I know what fragrance occurs without the use of perfume. We all know what occurs without the use of. And the Prophet let me ride behind him. So I put my mouth on the seal of prophethood, the mole on the back of the Prophet's neck, right, or between his shoulder blades. And it spread over me like moss.
Okay. Now, obviously, this is designed to be humorous, but these are all things that have been accepted by Muslims as being true for centuries. And there is a serious issue behind this humorous look at some of the ridiculous teachings. And that's that the so-called mere messenger, mere man, is elevated to a semi-divine status, that Muslims, regardless of whatever they say with their mouth, treat Muhammad like a god.
Ultimately, he is raised to divine status. I mean, we've spoken about how he was the very first being created by Allah. Allah took a piece of his essence and created Muhammad. Then Muhammad worshipped Allah for 70,000 years. Then Allah created a figure of Muhammad, placed it on a lamp with the illuminated the light of Muhammad, the Nur-i Muhammadi. And then the angels and the spirits worshipped Muhammad for 100,000 years. Then Allah took a fragment of Muhammad's light and made all the prophets from Abraham, Moses to Jesus. And then Muhammad was then born on earth as the finest and greatest of the prophets. So I think that really he is ultimately becomes a god. I mean, we covered that in a previous show. I think in the first one we mentioned those stories from the other biographies. So yeah, so let's see. Ali said, I washed the Prophet. I began to look for what is normally found in a corpse, rotting in other words, but I did not find anything. A sweet smell came from him, whose like I have never experienced. Abu Bakr kissed the Prophet after his death, and he said something to the same effect. Then Malik ibn Sinan drank Muhammad's blood on the day of Uhud and licked it up. The Prophet allowed him to do that, and then he said, the fire of hell will not touch you. Miracle blood. Something similar occurred when Abdullah ibn Zubayr drank his cupped blood, and the Prophet did not object. A woman drank some of Muhammad's urine. Let me repeat that. A woman drank some of Muhammad's urine, his wee-wee. He told her, you will never complain of a stomach ache. He did not order any of them to wash their mouths, nor did he forbid them to do it again. The hadith of the woman drinking the urine is sound. She said, I got up and felt thirsty, so I drank it without knowing. It must have been sweet-smelling urine, too. I
guess. Maybe it smelled like orange juice. You know, she got up in the morning and she was looking for her morning orange juice.
We're supposed to believe this. We are supposed to believe this, right? If this is so amazing, if these are the miracles of Muhammad, and they call this the miracles of, why don't they talk about this? If the Sharia is so amazing, why aren't they wanting to tell us about it? It is the finest law, the greatest law, Allah's own law. It is better than all man-made laws. It must replace all law. Then why is it a big secret? Why is it a big secret? You can't talk about it. Why is it secret? If this is so amazing, right? Muhammad's miracle poop, the ground opens up and swallows it, and then a sweet fragrance comes out. Trees walked behind him and closed around him to seal him up so he had privacy when he went to take a dump. Why aren't they talking about this, Thaddeus?
I don't know. Maybe they don't actually believe that it's inspirational, that it'll actually make us want to convert to Islam.
I don't know. Yeah. So maybe some Muslim in the comments. So let's talk about the religion of bottled peace. Saudi authorities closed down a shop selling traditional camel urine drinks after discovering the owner had been filling the bottles with his own bodily waste. Right?
Oh my.
Yeah, the religion of bottled peace. And let's. So now my comments are that I'll take my chances with bacon. I think bacon is better than peace. Let me continue. Mohammedans seem to like their peace mixed with milk. In this case, they have a drink where they mix the peace, it's the religion of peace, right, with camel milk, because peace on its own doesn't seem to taste so good. And then finally, while we say in the West that revenge is best served cold, it seems that peace tastes better when fresh and warm. Any thoughts from the audience? Any thoughts from you, Thaddeus?
Well, notice how in the headline here that he wasn't shut down for selling camel urine. He was shut down for passing human urine off as camel urine. So they were perfectly fine with him selling the camel urine. It was just when he put fake camel urine on the shelf that they had a problem with it.
Yeah, traditional camel urine drinks mixed with milk.
So we did have a question.
Yep.
It says, are the Hadith considered inspired books of God?
They're called, they're secondary canon. They are known as Wahy, W-A-H-Y. They are considered the inspired works of Allah, certainly. And don't forget, the Quran and the Sharia makes it very plain that when Muhammad speaks, he speaks with the force and the authority of Allah. And also, the Quran doesn't contain his example. Muslims, there's 100 commands within the Quran that in one way or another tell people to follow the example of Muhammad, but you cannot find the example of Muhammad in the Quran. That's why you have to look in the Hadith, in the Sirah, and in the other books.